everybody. Welcome to the Business Growth Collaborative. So, every month in 2026, we are covering some aspect of AI, artificial intelligence, so we can do all the research, find out the answers for you, and you don't have to go kind of trudging around and bumping around in the dark. Okay? So, this month, I have a very special guest who's going to show us a platform that's going to collect and make it easier for you to find the different platforms that you want to use for AI, and also be able to find your own company documents easier, plus a whole lot more. And I am just so eager to let you know that two things. I'm going to bring him on right away. We're just going to get started with a demo of this AI platform. And also, in an answer to all the people that have asked for more time, more attention, more Q&A, answers from your funnel godmother, then I developed this Systems Rescue Power Hour. It's every week. It's absolutely free. It's Thursdays at 12 p.m. Central Time. And right here is a QR code that you can scan to get registered. And so you'll get reminders about it. And then if that QR code doesn't work for you, I'm going to just pause briefly for this. Here is the same QR code bigger. I'm just going to hold this still for a few more seconds. If you're on the replay, you can just pause the video and scan this QR code. It's going to go to a landing page where you can register, and that is going to get you an email with the join link, and then it'll give you weekly reminders and let you know about the subjects that are coming up on our Systems Rescue Power Hour. Now, every Thursday at noon, I'm going to teach for about 15 or 20 minutes on a subject that's important to all business owners. And this is systems in general, not always AI, but of course AI will be included where it's appropriate. And then for the next 45 or 40 minutes, it's all Q&A. You can submit questions in advance to my email. I'll put that in the chat. And also, you can join live, and we'll just get through as many questions as we can in those 45 minutes. And I'm super excited to be there with you starting in 2 more days on Thursday, every Thursday. So I really am excited to bring you today David Levine, and he is going to tell us about an AI platform. Like I said, it's going to help you consolidate and organize your thoughts and your assets and your documents and a whole lot more. And so I'm going to bring him on to the stage here. Welcome, David. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Rita.
Can you give us a brief bio and tell us where you came from, what it is you do, and how you found this platform?
Certainly. So just some quick background. So again, my name is David Levine. I'm the founder and CEO of ResTech Solutions. We're based out of Houston, Texas. And I work with small businesses to help them, manage all things technology and IT, to help them, really run their business more efficiently. And, over the last, couple of years, AI has become a huge part of that focus. And I'm actually really excited about this platform we're going to share today, because I first came across this over a year ago. And I've been really keeping my eye on this, and finally hopped on board with them, just, a few months ago. So it's a really great platform, and I was kind of so excited what they had. I pinged Rita and it's like, Rita, you have to take a look at this, because I know she does automations and everything, and this thing is huge with automations as it relates to AI. So I'm really excited to be able to share this today.
Fantastic. We're just jumping right in. So David, you can share your screen. I'm going to take myself. I just realized that takes my audio off as well when I take myself off. So you can go ahead and present, I guess, is the button that you want there.
I am working. Here we go. All right, Rita, are you able to see the screen share?
Not yet. I'm waiting for it. Oh, I have to add it to the stage. There we go. Perfect.
All right, and just feel free to pop in anytime there's a question you'd like to get something clarified. But I'd like to introduce this platform. It is called HATS AI. And think of this like a smart digital assistant that can understand your questions, help you find information, and automate tasks. Um, just like any other AI tool, it's like having a very knowledgeable teammate who's available 24/7, who can search through your documents, answer questions, and help out with routine work. So right here, I'm kind of logged in, showing my home screen is kind of what you'll see. You've got your organization related items, and we'll dive into what each of these are. And then you have community items, as there are a lot of community templates, both created by the platform creators, as well as from other members within the community itself. And let's just dive right into probably the feature everyone's going to be most familiar with, and that's going to be the chat area. So this is just like using any other, AI chat tool such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, anything that you're using today. You have this here. But what is really unique about this platform compared to a lot of others is one, you're getting a fully privatized platform, and that means any interaction you do here, your data, your information you share is private, maintained within your own container essentially, and your data is not used to train these AI models like a lot of them are when you are using them directly. I know the big one people use is ChatGPT, and if you just have a free plan or you're on just the most basic paid plan, which I believe is their plus, your information is still being used to train the models. And so that's the big difference here. And I want to show you that when you go to select a model to interact with, you get to choose. You can obviously have some pinned. You can set one that's a default for yourself and your organization. But when you look at everything here, there are a lot of models available. A lot of the various versions of ChatGPT. You probably got some models here you may not have seen before, such as Amazon actually has several. You got Grok, Llama, Mistral, and then you got a bunch of premium. So these are going to be a lot of the more recent models, as you can see. So you got your later ChatGPT models, your Claude models. So you have a lot of options. And then, of course, if you're looking for something specific, it's like you want to create images, you got some great options. And probably something I really like is having, these nano banana models available, as these do some great image generation, of course, along with, a lot of the Chat GPT models as well. And so that's what's great. The other unique thing to this platform that you don't really have with a lot of platforms, at least not to the level that you have here, is you have the option to select tools to use when you're doing these chats. So for example, if you're needing to do like a web search, you can choose if you want to have it do Google, or maybe you want to use Tably here, which I've seen this use this one a lot. I mean, you really get the pick on what you use. And for example, also let's say you're trying to figure out something with Microsoft, for example, you can even select this Microsoft Learn, and you can have it actually look right at the Microsoft documentation, pull out information, which actually is great, considering how sometimes, using Microsoft's own help documentation can be quite cumbersome. And then you've got all these other integrations that you can add. So I've connected into my own Microsoft 365 account for my business. And so if you're a business out there that may have already been using Copilot, you already know that Copilot natively within Microsoft can tie into that data, and its backend is powered by ChatGPT. Well, what if you're not a big fan of ChatGPT? And I know right now, a lot of people are, hopped on the Claude bandwagon and want to use Claude. Well, you can select a Claude model here, integrate your Microsoft 365 account, and now you can be using Claude to analyze your documents or, help summarize information that you normally wouldn't want to connect publicly to one of the other models because, again, you're exposing your private company information. But here you don't have to worry about that getting exposed. For those that are using CRMs, again, if you've followed Rita long enough, she talks about automation in CRMs. Well, you can have that integrated here too. They got a big one now, the High Level, which is in beta. And I know in here there's also HubSpot. You can also connect LinkedIn. There's so many different things that you can connect and do here that the possibilities of what you can do seem almost limitless. And this is just chat. We haven't even really gotten to the cool piece of the platform. But also, if you're really not sure, what tools you might need, you can always turn on Auto Tool, and it will select the best tools to use based on your prompt. And also, if you're not sure about which model you want to use for your chat, you can always select the auto option and it will pick the best model for each message. And even within a chat, you can switch models. You're not stuck with just one model here in a chat compared to when you're with other platforms like you're on ChatGPT. Well, you've only got ChatGPT models. But here, if you want to go from ChatGPT to Claude, to something else, you have that capability. So I'm going to move into the workshop now, and this is where things really start to get powerful. So as you can see, we start on a discovery screen where you can find all sorts of, pre-built items done by the community or by the platform itself. And the different types you can have is you can have an app, a workflow, and an agent. And I'll go through each one and kind of tell you what they are. So an app is going to be similar to a workflow, but it's a single item that you're automating, which is why I just call it an automation. And you can have defined user inputs and constants in any files you want to provide. And again, you can choose the model to use, just like in chat, as to what AI model you want to use for your prompt, and you're going to give it your detailed set of instructions, and then it'll give you your output. And because this is very similar to a workflow, I will actually show you an actual workflow I built so you can understand how that actually works. So I'm going to pop into my items here. And let me actually show you a workflow. It's very similar to an app or an automation, but you can have a multi-step deal. So I'm going to actually show you this one. And let me actually show you what it looks like if you're going to run it first, and then I'll show you what you can do when you build it. So this is something I developed to help me create a presentation based on what I call my ELOS positioning document, which that's not as important as to what that is. That's just something that I kind of developed internally. But when I create a presentation, I require the workflow to know the topic, to have that document for reference. If I have an existing outline, it's optional, and everything else is optional. But the more context I give it, the more detailed or the more pointed the final output would be. And so just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like, let's look at a run history of one I did recently. And you'll be able to see all the inputs I gave it. And then here's kind of all the outputs. And now one thing that I will be doing as I continue to edit is actually labeling each step. So when we're looking at historical reference, things make much more sense. And I can show you another workflow where we actually got those labeled to understand what this output actually is. But as you'll see here, it's pulled some initial information, and then it kind of fine tunes it into more of an outline format. And then it's going to start to help build a document structure. Along with this, I believe, is some more research it's doing, and then it's going to synthesize that research. It's going to help develop a call to action. And then it actually built a full presentation deck with all the content on there. So, which I thought it would just give me stuff and I'd build it, but it actually did a really great job, which I was actually quite surprised at how well it did, and almost had to do very few edits to it. And then I just went back through and had to add the notes. So in a future iteration, what I will do is I'll make it where these notes it generates, it just puts it right in the slide deck. So I don't have to manually do that, because there was about 33 slides that required these notes added to them. So let's actually look. Oh, I'm gonna go back at what it looks like when actually editing it. And so you can actually see after I ran that, I realized I did not name these. So I actually named the steps. So when we're looking at an output on the next run, when I create one, that it'll make more sense as to what we're looking at. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you can pick whichever model you want. So a lot of these are running on Claude Opus 4.7. Here's one that's on Sonnet 4.6, and even GPT 5.4. And all these red items are the actual inputs that for actually running this workflow. And then the output of a step can become part of the input to the following step, as well as continuing to pull, from these user inputs over here. And you can denote what these items are based on the color of the box. Now, the other thing you don't see here, because this is just a straight one step into the next step, but you can start with an initial prompt, or you can have multiple prompts, and you can actually run things simultaneously, and then they can feed into a single prompt for the next step, or you can have one going into multiple, or multiple into one. So it's very powerful with what you can do here from a workflow automation standpoint. And again, you don't have to have as many inputs as I did on this one. Again, I only had 2 of them that were required. The rest were optional, but it could just start with a single input. And then based on what happens, down the road with these different steps, you can then have different inputs based on outputs from prior steps. And you can pull, an output from, a step, 2 steps prior, depending on what you're needing for what you're trying to accomplish. So again, it's extremely powerful. So we've looked at apps, we looked at workflows, and then the final thing to look at is agents. So if you're familiar with ChatGPT and how you can have custom GPTs, it's essentially the same premise. So I'm going to show you, I've actually built one that assists me with doing some coding work for a internal tool that I am currently building, or a platform that I'm building. And what's really unique about this is, each agent you create gets a dedicated email address, so you can actually interact with it over email. But you can give it a description, so when you're looking at it, it tells you what it's going to do. You can specify its, default greeting message, and then you can give it a set of instructions, which again, the more detailed you are, the better, just like anything with AI. And then again, you can select the model that you want to use. You can give it an icon, and I actually did use the Nano Banana Pro tool in here to actually create an image for this. And then you can also give it some source files. So if there's some stuff you'll always need it to reference, you can include that here. I then also enabled auto tooling to make sure, for anything that it needs to do for any research or, looking up of information, it can automatically select the tool it needs. And then I also like to apply my personal user preferences to this agent for when I'm working with it. And again, you once you build it, it's not a one and done. You can come update it as you need to, and then you can just update it from here. And so I've actually done that numerous times, because as we're constantly updating sources, I'll come and change and add those and update the agent. So as I'm moving task to task, this agent always has the most up-to-date information based on prior work that we've done. So again, there's so much that you can do with this platform, especially when you come and look in Discovery and see what's here. because before you try and build something, I would recommend searching here, because you may actually find something that someone's already built, and then you can always try it out. And then once you save it, you actually then have the ability to edit, because you've now saved a copy of that item into your account. Now, the one last thing I want to touch on, and this is probably the only thing here that's an extra feature, is you can have an AI phone agent here. So if you actually want to have an AI agent be able to answer phone calls for you or take calls, you'll be able to set something up here, again, using the very similar feature set. So at this point, I know I kind of covered quite a bit in a short amount of time, but I would like to open up to any questions if anyone has any, or Rita, if you have anything you'd like to ask.
Wow, David. Wow. I wanted to see, because in the description I featured the function of finding your documents, and I found that to be a fascinating feature of this product that I wanted to see how that works. Your company documents.
Yeah, so let me go. I'm going to go back to the chat perspective and just pull up the tools list again. And so I've actually done that here through the integrations, but let me actually go back a step further. And because there's actually a place where you can do those integrations, but I'll also say for anyone who maybe might be a little more tech savvy and likes to do even additional integrations, you do have the ability to do create API keys, because there is an API available on the platform. This is where you're able to set your AI preferences. So this is where I selected my default model. Now this is on my user side, but I have at the company side, set that. And I do want to go back to the company level to kind of show you there to answer your question about documents. But also wanted to point out that there is a memory here. If you're familiar with how that works in ChatGPT, it's very similar. And a lot of what I have here, I actually pulled over from my ChatGPT account. So if anyone is interested in getting this platform and wants to know how to get some of that migrated, more than happy to show you how that is at that time. And you'll be able to have multiple users, because you're buying this for the company and you're buying a pool of credits for your company to share amongst your users. And there's also organization settings, so you can set all that. So here's actually where I set that, for the organization. And so it's actually split between your personal settings and your organization settings. Let's actually go back to tools. So I've already actually connected my Microsoft, so I can't really show that to you here. But again, all you have to do is literally just sign in. When you say connect, you'll sign in as an admin into the tenant's organization. And you should also be able to do it to your own user account if you need it for just your own stuff. And then you'll be able to interact with it in that manner. Same thing, for example, like if you want to connect your LinkedIn account to do stuff there, again, this is in beta. So anything that does show in beta, there's probably going to be limited support or documentation as to what's available until that kind of comes out, where they get some of that really developed and published. But there's, I think, over like 50 different integrations on this platform right now that you can tie in with third-party tools. So again, if you're using things like Zapier, you can do that to do additional automations. N8N, which is one I've been really excited about, because we're doing a lot with that now, and you'll be able to connect that as well. So that really extends the capabilities of this platform. So let's say there's not a native integration with something, or the native integration can't do what you want. A lot of times things like N8N Make or Zapier can kind of extend that functionality. and you kind of have a hierarchy of, simplest to more complex with Zapier, Make, and then end, probably the most complex, but most flexibility in terms of, what you can do. So it is a very powerful platform in that regards. But it's as simple again as, just hit connect, follow the steps to actually connect that account. And then once you connect it, you'll see your connected integrations right here, and then you'll be able to select and use them.
So, in the example of Microsoft, let's say, if it's on your OneDrive, then you'd be able to find it. But
Yes.
what if it's on my laptop?
If there's something on your laptop but not in one of the services, it's not going to be able to just see directly what's on your computer.
Gotcha. But if it's on my Google Drive or my OneDrive or something like that.
Yes. So in fact, I will select Microsoft, and I'll just do live here and show you. And what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to turn it to the auto. No. And you got to select your model first and then come back. Let's select Microsoft. All right, good. We got one tool. Please summarize the amount of documents in my OneDrive account. And let's see what it can do. So since I selected auto, it chose the tool. Okay, now it's choosing another tool. And look at that, it just like that, it just gave me a summary of what's in my OneDrive account. It tells me this is how much total storage I have, how much I've used, how much is remaining, obviously how much space I can probably free up by clearing out my recycle bin. And then it's giving me an overall summary. So if you're just ever wanting to know something real quick, there again, so much you could do. I mean, this was just a very surface level, but you could even go into the point of, in my OneDrive, I have a document called this in this folder, and I need you to look at that and give me a summary, or it's maybe got some information and you want it to do some analysis. It has the ability to access that data now that you've made that connection.
I love this because finding a document wherever you have put it, maybe, in fact, just today or yesterday for a client, her, Kathy VH, she needed access to her lead magnet that we had created in 2023, and I had to find it. And so this is a perfect example of how I could have found it much quicker if I had this tool in place already and had everything integrated. So I am really, really loving this. I think this part in particular is going to help, I think, with a company, even if they're not terribly organized, they'll still be able to find things, especially when at a company people leave, they come and go. And if Bob put that document somewhere, does everyone else know where it is? Right?
Exactly. And one thing else I'll mention that I didn't point out here on the chat side is you can organize your stuff into folders. So if there's certain things you're doing, you can certainly move it there to make it easier to find you and organize, kind of just like files that we were talking about. But the one thing I will note, if anyone has used the project feature inside ChatGPT, just as a comparison, this is not like that. It's literally just a folder to organize similar chats or however you want to organize and classify stuff. Other than that, it does nothing else that's special. So Rita, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, people want to know about how they can buy it. How does it work? Oh, and you did mention credits. Can you go through the credits, how that works?
Yes. So you get a pool of credits. In fact, let me pull up my information, and I will kind of give you a rundown of what that is. Give me one moment. And the one thing, while this is coming up, what I will say about the credits is the way your credits get used is going to vary depending on the model that you pick. So the reason I decided on this demo here to do the auto model, because it's typically going to find the best model for your request, but find the one that's going to use the least amount of credits. And about the only time I truly pick a specific model, and especially this being a premium model, is because I've coded it to that agent I work with, because I know that model from work I've done in the past does really well for the type of coding support that I need. And so I choose to use that premium model. So I know I'm going to burn through credits a lot quicker. But getting into the plan, so the intro plan is kind of the smallest plan that's offered, and that starts at a pooled deal of credits at 30,000 per month. Now the credits get reloaded every month, but unused credits don't roll over, so I want to make that clear. And for anyone that is interested, because I know some of y'all have the question, this plan starts at $180 per month. But keep in mind, that is all these different AI models available at your fingertips. So when you think about what it would cost you to go get, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, the different Google ones, to, depending on what's in here and what's not. But a lot of the big ones are in here, and you're having to pay, 20 to 30 or $35 a month per account. And a lot of the ones, like, for example, I know with ChatGPT, you can have a team account, but you're paying per user. Well, you're not paying per user here. You're paying for the business for a pool of credits spread out amongst your users and however they're needed to be used. So when you factor all that in, plus the fact not only are you getting chat, but you're getting these automations, you're getting these workflows and agents, that's actually a heck of a deal. So I just want to put that in perspective.
I just want to just hit that one point again, because my understanding, the way I am consuming this, is when I buy hats for $180 a month, then I don't have to pay $20 a month for chat and $30 a month for another one and $30 a month for another one, right? I only pay for hats and I still have access to all of them, right?
Right, because those models are built into the account you're going to get. So if you are paying for one or five different ones, you could potentially stop paying all that, redirect those funds to this platform, and potentially get more than what you're paying for right now.
Yeah, and just to recap as well, because you have given us a treasure trove of information, and we don't want to get lost on the fact that access to all of those is only one piece of what you get with this hats. That's one piece. And then you have the access to your documents, that organization. And then you have access to the different versions of platforms that you may have never tried yet. And they each have their own specialty or area of expertise. Is that right? Especially some of the ones we haven't heard of?
That's correct. And actually, real quick before I switch back, so on the auto, by default, it's going to, do a smart routing based on performance, but you can change to light or turbo depending on what you need as well. So it even now gives you that flexibility, which that I believe is something newer that I don't think was there even when I first signed up. So they're constantly enhancing and adding to this platform. But yeah, so just kind of take a look at the models again. So again, you have the premium models, which these are probably the more popular models that likely when you're going out directly to these vendors to use their tools, this is typically what you're getting. And a lot of times they will take away your ability to access some of the older models. But here, you still have access to a lot of those older models. Like, for example, ChatGPT, 3.5 Turbo, 4.0, 4.1. And if you look, directly with ChatGPT, they don't let you select those anymore. So if there's something specific that you need that model can do and maybe be a little cheaper, you have that ability to select that.
Right. So when you say be a little cheaper, and we're going to go back now to the credits. So if I'm using ChatGPT and I just leave it all the time on that deep research, really powerful one, I'm going to use my credits a lot faster. Is that right?
Yes.
Mhm. And I might not always be searching for something that requires that deep research. So I want to be conscious of which version
Right.
I'm
So
using.
I just want to pull this up and show you. So you can see so far this month, the majority of my usage has been this ChatGPT 5.4. And I mean, you can do the math, take, the number of credits used divided by the calls, and you'll figure out what my average cost per call is. But when you do a comparison with these other two models here that had some usage, I mean, right away you can see this Cloud Haiku 4.5 was almost next to nothing per call by comparison. So, I really hope this helps to illustrate when we talk about the credits and what things cost.
Fantastic. And when you say per call, do you mean per prompt, per
Yes.
use?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's per
Okay.
prompt.
Okay. And I felt like, yeah, I had written down this question about when you have hats, then you can stop paying for those other individual platforms, but you still have access to them, but you also have access to all versions of them, right?
Yes. So yeah. So when you have the other account you're paying for, you can literally downgrade to a free. You don't have to cancel because that way you can still maintain to your historical data that you've worked with. Now, obviously, check with each platform to find out, what will basically be retained when you go from paid to free. But all your chats and stuff should retain typically. But again, check with the platform. But then, yes, once you come here, and I'll pull up this list again. As you can see, you get all of these models available to use at your fingertips. So just think if you were doing this on your own and you had wanted Gemini, you want ChatGPT, you want Claude. What's some other ones like I know Grok, Llama. So that's just 5 right there. That would be 5 separate tools you potentially be paying for if you want to use all those individually. But
And
here,
yeah, and I've already run into the issue where one of my one of the things that I talk about often when I talk to someone about a CRM, they've as their company grew, they used this tool for this and that tool for that and that tool for that, and now they have a Franken system that it's all over the place, right? And there's a duplicate effort, and that you can have the same thing with your AI tools at this point if you've been using it for a while, like a year and a half, 2 years, like I have. I have questions I've asked on different platforms, and now I have to remember, shoot, where did I get that answer from? Right? Where is it? And now you won't need to do that anymore if you decide, oh yeah, I like this hats thing, I'm going to sign on with hats. Then all of those things. In fact, I think you mentioned when we were talking on Friday, you can switch models during a chat thread, right?
yes. Yep. And I mentioned that earlier here too. So yeah, within this chat. So I was on auto and I took it off auto. So now if I wanted to submit something with, another one, I could easily do that because on auto, it's going to pick, the best one. But if I decided, no, I really didn't like what it did, and yeah, I can even ask the same question again, just pick a different model and see if it did anything different. So you can certainly do that as well.
I'll tell you, David. Now, where have you shown us everything, or is there still more to discover with hats?
That is pretty much everything as
Oh,
of today. Now, obviously, the one thing I can't show you in detail because I don't actually have it active on my own account right now is the AI phone agent.
okay.
Um, but I know that's going to be a pretty powerful piece if you don't already have something that can do that for you. And then, of course, they're always, enhancing the platform, adding new models and other features. So there's always stuff growing because even, what 7-8 months ago, when I spoke with them before purchasing, when I was evaluating, they had only just launched their their workflow piece that I showed earlier, and so what you saw there was the evolution of what they've done over like 6 or 7 months since releasing it.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so Hats has a, say that again.
Here back in the
AI.
workshop, it's the
No, it's the thing you didn't get to show us, the
the AI phone agent.
phone agent. Okay. I'm putting bits into the chat so as you demonstrate. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yep.
There we go. All right. So let's make sure that is there anything else that we don't we have answered all the questions from the audience. Is there anything else that you wanted to say? And we definitely want to get the link for people to book a quick chat with you to see if they are like they're curious, they want to know more, they may be ready to pull out the card and sign up and get started with Hats.
Yep, definitely. So one other quick thing I'll mention. So in the workshop, actually, there is a connections section here, so you can see, what you've connected and everything else you can connect. Also, if anyone who's wanting to do like research and you got access on Apollo, that's now here in beta. It'll show you some popular integrations as well. So just wanted to point that out. But Rita, I put in, I think in the private chat, so you can share how you want, my scheduling link so people can book, and then what to put in one of those open question answer boxes so I know they're specifically looking for this. So I don't know if you want to flash it up on the bar there at the bottom of the screen.
Let me put AI automation in one of the 4 question answer boxes.
Yeah, so basically when you go to my booking link, you're going to fill out your information. I have some open-ended questions. Pick any of those.
Oh, very good. Now I see what you mean. I was looking for where I should put it right now. Okay. Studio chat. Now I'm trying to get back to the main chat. Comments. Oh, it's comments. Okay, here we go. Okay. And then that other piece of instruction is to put AI automation in any of those answers, right?
Yes. But while you're doing that, I'll also mention that, if anyone's thinking, well, I may need more than 30,000 credits a month, there are plans that go all the way up to 1.5 million credits per month. So I'll just put that out there.
Right. And speaking of that, so this is obviously for someone who has a team of people. You have a team. Here's one of the best things about a platform like this is your team members are not out using their own AI logins on different platforms, gathering information for your company and then bringing it to you. Because then again, when you want to find it again, maybe that person has moved on and doesn't work for you anymore. That just sounds like a house on fire to me. And so you can have all of your people using one account. All of the things they find and generate and look for are all in one place, even if they leave the company, correct?
Correct. Yep. And right here, I'm showing you. So when you go add a user, you can select, what access they have. So if all they need is chat, or if they need to have the workshop, or if you need to make them an admin, so you'll be able to kind of control that, and you can always change their role, on the fly as needed. So you have that ability to easily add, different team members. And the other nice thing is, when you're in here doing chats, everything's private to you as the user, but you have the ability. So let's say I wanted to, hey, someone needed to know this, I can then share either with the whole organization or with specific people within the organization. And then you can copy the link and send that to them. And again, everything on here is private, so again, everything is retained within your own account. Nothing is, used to train the model. And for those who might be familiar with the different certifications that are out there, this vendor is SOC 2 Type 2 compliant for those that matters to.
Wow, SOC 2 Type 2, that's what we just said. That means that what you put in here is not used to train the large language model.
Yeah, so effectively, data security is taken very seriously here.
I like that. Data security. And I love hearing that from David, because you may not know this, but David's entire company is cybersecurity. That is what he's an expert on. That's what he consults on. That's what he does, is protects companies and teaches us how to not be vulnerable to attacks, and also how not to be sharing things that we don't want to share.
All right. Well, that's pretty much everything about the platform, unless anyone has any final questions.
Okay, I'm going to check. I'm going to put up your booking link again here in just a second, and leave that up until here. I'm showing the comment that you can add team members to your HATS account, so all the research and results are contained in one place. I'm going to go back and get the booking link for you. There we go. And we'll show that until the end. Thank you so much. I'm going to look through the chat here one more time and make sure I didn't miss a question from anyone. Thank you for being here, David. I really appreciate it. I really especially love the way you explain things, because you explain things in such a way that it doesn't go right over our heads, and you don't bury us in lingo that is foreign to us. So that is really, really helpful. So we have the scheduling link on the screen right now, so you can schedule a call with David. And when you do schedule a call, please put these two AI automation anywhere in the 4 questions that he's going to ask you when you book the call, so he'll know that it came from this event. And so, okay, we've got some likes, some people are reacting, and they're watching. That seems like they've gotten all their questions answered from your demonstration. And I appreciate you being here. I really, really enjoyed the private demo that I got on Friday, and I said, you got to come to this thing on Tuesday and tell people about it. And so, in case you didn't see the very beginning, I'm going to just say goodbye to David, and I hope maybe you'll come back again someday. And I know, David, you're planning to be at the Systems Rescue events on Thursdays whenever you can. And so that's what I'm going to invite everyone again to be able to sign up for that now. And thank you for being here, David. So this QR code here, you can sign up and get registered for. It's every Thursday. I'm going to teach for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then it's all question and answer. You can send questions in by email. I have my email here for you. And especially if you say, oh, I know I can't be there, but I can watch the replay and I want her to answer this question. You send me questions by email, or you just join live and we'll get through as many questions as we can for the people that are there live. This is the QR code. If you're having any trouble scanning that, I'm going to hold this right up here. It's the same QR code. And hopefully you'll be able to scan that a whole lot easier. You just register one time on this, and then you get a welcome email that has the Zoom link in it. And then I'm going to send you weekly emails to tell you what subjects are coming up, what I'm going to be teaching about. It's going to go in a logical progression from very beginning, basic foundation of a CRM, which even if you've had one for a while, some of these things you may not have in place. So you want to be watching those all the way up to some advanced functions and integrations. And that's going to run for 6 months, and we'll start it all over again, and we'll run it again for 6 months. You're always going to be able to pick up on something important. And I'm going to actually put the link in here in case that QR code didn't work for you. It's a bit.ly link, and it's systems, rescue, power, hour. And I'm going to put that up on the screen now so you can see that. Just in case that QR code didn't work on your phone. There we go. And then I just want to thank everyone for being here today, and thank you for watching the replay. Comment. Make sure you comment. If you have any questions, we'll get back to you on them when you're watching the replay. And if you like this content, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel right down there and hit the bell so you will be able to, get notified every time I have a new video up. So thank you for being here. I'm going to leave this. Oh, that's not spelled right. It's bit.ly. Here it is. ly/systems rescue power hour. And each of those words has a capital letter. And here we go. There it is. bit.ly systems rescue power hour. I'm very excited. People have been asking for this for a long time. And I found a way to be able to deliver this amount of quality interaction for no charge at all. And I am very excited to be able to bring this to you. So that is either this QR code, here it is again on the close-up, and the link is bit.ly/systems rescue power hour, and each one of those words has a capital letter. So we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for being here.